Bonjour Year 9, welcome to Lesson 2 of our lockdown learning for January 2021. All about les sorties, hence the number 2 with it being our second lesson, all about going out. Today's objectives, it's going to be building on last lesson, so we're looking at recapping the key verb vouloir, which we know means to want. You need to understand that France has a lot to offer for tourists, and it's not just Disneyland, so you're going to see a handful of new destinations and places that people go, and deal with written texts on that, which will help develop our reading and writing skills in French. Now then, as ever, you have accessed this video by clicking into the Year 9 French Study Zone Moodle page, and hopefully this video is playing, and you have also downloaded the accompanying worksheet. So everything that we require you to do can be done on the worksheet and then submitted into Moodle, ready for either myself or Mrs. Hillier to mark your work. So, moving on then, the very first exercise that we would like you to do is a recap of the key verb vouloir, meaning to want. And I'm just going to recap and I'm going to say this out to you. Feel free to repeat back to me if you want. So, je veux, I want. I mentioned before that this is probably the phrase that you're going to use the most, particularly at your level, because most of the speaking exams are about you. So je veux. Very important that you're not saying that last letter, so not je veux. Je veux. Repeat it to yourself. Je veux, je veux, je veux. We get the bigger marks when we start talking about other people. So tu veux, il veut, elle veut. Notice how I'm not saying the X or the T there again. Tu veux. You want, tu veux, repeat, il veut, elle veut, making sure that we do not mix up il and elle, he and she. Repeat to yourself, tu veux, il veut, elle veut. Nous voulons, when you talk about multiple people, so we want, nous voulons. Notice the silent S's, almost like they're not there. Nous voulons, we want. Repeat, nous voulons. Vous voulez, meaning you want. Now we've discussed before that there are two versions of you. This one right here, when you're talking politely or you're talking to more than one person. The one above would be for someone who is your friend or someone who is on their own. So, vous voulez, you want. And then finally the two ways to say they want. Ils veulent, which would be a group of males or a mixed group. Or elles veulent, just a group of females. So, ils veulent, elles veulent. Ils veulent, elles veulent. Okay, so you can repeat that as much as you like to make sure that it sticks in your head. Remember, golden rule of speaking in French usually is the last letter is usually silent. It's not always the case, but for the most things it is. So our first task is this. The first exercise on your worksheet is to fill in the gap with the right part of vouloir, and you need to use this box to help you. Now, what do we mean by that? Here it is. So number 1, je blank aller au cinéma. Now to do this effectively, I look into my box, I find the word je, and I look at what word comes after it, and I pop it in the box. That should hopefully be straightforward enough. Once you've done that, it's next to each sentence you need to write down what you think it means in English. Now there's going to be some words here that you're not entirely sure of, possibly. Try to work out the meaning on your own first, then look up any words you don't know in a dictionary. A big hint here is the word after the gap is always a verb, so it's going to be to something. So je veux, I want to something in the cinema, and you can hopefully use a little bit of common sense and some knowledge there. Please do not use Google Translate, because it's not effective, it's rarely accurate. If you don't own a dictionary, there's always online dictionaries, but try using wordreference.com, where you can set the language to French to English, and you can type in the word you're looking for, it will give you the correct answer. That is exercise 1 on the worksheet, and it's going to give you a total of 20 marks. Alright, so moving on to our next activity is qu'est-ce que tu visites? I've put the phonetics underneath to show you, of course, that this little phrase here, qu'est-ce que, looks a lot more difficult than it actually is. It just means what, and it's pronounced qu'est-ce que, qu'est-ce que, qu'est-ce que. Qu'est-ce que tu veux visiter, meaning what do you want to visit? Now I mentioned in the introduction that France has a lot more to offer than simply Disneyland. Yes, it's fun, Disneyland, but there's more. So we're going to be dealing with a handful of attractions that exist in France. So the first one here is Mont Saint-Michel, which looks a little bit like that. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is, because that's going to be coming next. We've got Parc Asterix, which clearly is a some sort of theme park, based on a comic book, actually. We've got the Louvre, found in Paris. Iconic structure in the shape of a pyramid. That pyramid part is what you see when you're outside. Nothing actually in that pyramid. It's everything that's important is underground. The Normandy beaches, site of the famous D-Day landings, if you know your history, in the north of France. Chamonix, skiing. It's a mountain range. And finally, Futuroscope. Now, this is a sci-fi type theme park, which is located in a place called Poitiers, which is not too far away from where I used to live in France. So there's a little bit of something there for everybody, no matter what your interest is. Like I said, it's more than just Disneyland. And we're going to deal with these 6 areas on exercise number 2 of the worksheet, which should look a little bit like this. So, our title there was Qu'est-ce que tu veux visiter, which we now know means what do you want to visit. And you've got people here who are talking about the places they would like to visit on holiday in France. These are all the people, look, in the box. Leia, Mr. and Mrs. Levitre, and so on. You need to find the best destination for them by researching the destinations given in the box. So these people tell you what they're into, like what they're interested in, what they want to do, what they want to see. So, complete the grid on the worksheet with the name of the people who should visit each destination. So down the side we've got the destinations, so La Tour Eiffel, the Eiffel Tower, Chamonix, Mont Saint-Michel, and so on. Who would you send there, based on what they've said in these boxes, and what's your reason? What keywords have they used? So for example, I'm going to send so-and-so to the Eiffel Tower because they've said they would like to have a nice view. Something like that. And that is completed in English. Now that exercise is going to be out of 14. 7 for the correct person being sent, and another 7 for a logical reason or keywords. I've given you here as well some useful words that might help you lead to your answers. Okay, still on this part of the worksheet, but exercise 2 is a very simple. Find the following words and phrases in the speech bubbles. These are within these speech bubbles, and they might help you with the next task. So you just make a note of those on the worksheet, gaining you a maximum of 10 marks, I believe it is. Which takes you to the very last task for today. Again, using the worksheet, and we need you to write 3 sentences about which places here you would like to visit, and 3 sentences about which places you would not like to visit. So what places are we talking about? We're talking about these. So you need to pick any 3 here that you'd like to see, and any 3 that you wouldn't like to see. And tell us why. So, some keywords here. And you tell us what you would like to see and why. I would say that you need to keep this as simple as you can, alright? So use what's on the worksheet to help you some of our keywords and go from there. Type that into the box on the worksheet that we've provided, save it and upload it to Moodle, ready for your class teacher to mark for you.